Hey everybody, I'm here to give a sneak peek of my upcoming masterclass that's on privacy by design and secure by default AI products. And today we're going to talk a little bit about some common do's and don'ts. So, patterns to do, anti-patterns to avoid on building private and secure AI products. So, the first don't I have is don't immediately decide to put the data you're testing with or the idea that you have into a random third-party proprietary AI model. So don't immediately say, I wonder what happens if I upload this document to Claude or to ChatGPT or, right? What you can do is you can maybe set up some local first AI models. You can do this even if you don't know anything about machine learning. You can download and use ChatGPT for all. There's also an Ollama project that has a bunch of different types of things for different architectures. If you have a corporate Copilot contract and it's secure, so it's turned so it doesn't automatically use the internet model, that's an option. And if you're a machine learning person or you're a techie, then you can create a Hugging Face account and start running models locally directly from big Hugging Face models, depending on your computer size and capacity. But why do we do this? It's because when we have a local first model or a local first type of design, we're not actually sending the data to a third-party service, which could log it, which could store it, which could keep it forever, right? We're instead testing out that initial idea, that initial impulse on something that's on our machine that we can decide doesn't have internet access, that we can keep locally. And that's just a lot better when you're first designing to maybe start there first. If you find that a local model doesn't perform, then start thinking about, okay, where do we go from here? So, second thing to start thinking about, don't just say, it looks good to me. I did some vibe checks. It's all good. We can definitely use it for sensitive data because I tested a few prompts and they looked good to me. So that's fine. What you can do is actually start to build evaluation criteria around privacy and security as part of your normal product testing, software testing, and also model testing. So depending on the level of data maturity at your organization, this might mean literally just having an easy test suite that you can run through with software that also tests third-party integrated models, right? B, if you're more advanced data shop, AI shop, this actually means inserting some tests into your MLOps pipeline or other whatever else you use for evaluation and validation of the models that you're building or the model systems that you're testing and deploying. And my buddy Hugo Bone Anderson has some courses on kind of building evaluation criteria, thinking through these things, which I'll link. But that's a really great place to kind of just start thinking is how do we integrate privacy and security testing into that? And you can start simple. Start simple by trying to break the model in a few tests. Start simple by trying to probe for more information about something that you know is in the data set in the test. Just start where you can and then expand from there. You don't have to get it all right the first time. Okay, third thing, don't randomly make a copy of all the data or like dump and commingle a bunch of data from a bunch of different sources as kind of your fine tuning or your testing or your evaluation or your training data. Why? Well, because you might be commingling stuff that is already approved for training, stuff that's not approved, stuff that's what we might consider murky. We don't really know where we got it, or we don't know if we're allowed to use it for training or something like this. And particularly when we're talking about sensitive data, this is a big no-no, right? So do instead start putting data governance controls. So if you don't already have data governance controls, now is the time to invest. But data governance controls so that you can understand the lineage of the data, you can understand how the data should be used, and you can also chat with your privacy team if you have one to get advice on how do we better organize the data that we're going to use for machine learning so that we clearly know which is a thumbs up no matter what, which is a maybe talk to us, and which is a no, definitely don't use this, right? So this is like something that everybody can start with. And then finally, transparency for users. So don't just, blast your users with a privacy policy update. We're gonna like maybe do the AI, but maybe we're not. And now we have the right to use every data that you've ever typed into our system for the AI, just in case we come up with a good idea. And like, instead, maybe start thinking about what AI is actually useful for the business or for the users or for the customers or for whatever team, and actually evaluate the usefulness before you start feeding random data or telling millions of people that you're not going to use their data for training, right? So do instead actually look, is this valuable, what we're doing? Or are we just grabbing at straws so that we can say we're doing AI? B, if it's valuable, is it commensurate to the amount of risk that we expect? Now, this would be difficult to do, but Isabel Barberja has a really great report on starting to think about AI privacy risks as part of your evaluation. So I'll link that as well. But you need to kind of start having those conversations. Is the value that we're getting, which is hopefully more than just random shiny thing, commensurate to the risk that we have? And maybe the risk is really low or non-existent, then that's great. Then you can transparently communicate that to people and you can then, do that, right? But if the risk is higher, then you might want to think about when you're releasing or working on a product idea, both engaging with customers or engaging with whomever data you're going to be using, and then maybe even launching a separate product line where people opt into that, right? Where it's really clear from the beginning, when I upload my video here, it could be used for training and I'm okay with that. So just some thoughts from somebody that's been building AI systems since before we called them AI systems. And I hope if you found it useful, I hope to see you at one of my masterclasses coming this fall and this winter. And this, amongst many other things, are going to be the fun activities that we have planned in that class. See you there.